Okay, we're in podcasting. We're podcasting
in
now.
podcasting.
Are you feeling?
I
Are you
am.
feeling it?
You feeling podcasting?
I'm locked in.
I want to say
I
that-
got this.
And I don't want to say this because I feel like it may jinx us, but up until this point, you've done a great job today.
I appreciate the
Yeah.
compliments.
Yeah, it's
I'm
been
terrified
impressive.
now that I've verbalized that and put it out into the universe. What's actually going to happen?
I know.
yeah. No, we might as well just light the building on fire at this point. Yeah. Hey, so we're back. We went to Beavers Bend since then. We've talked to Chris Shoddy, we've talked to Cliff, but we haven't done an episode about our Cast Your Faith trip to Beavers Bend, which I think
It
goes
was
down to-
wonderful.
I think it
it
was the
was
best trip we've had yet.
100%.
It was epic for a number of different.
Oh yeah, there's so many
Yes.
elements here.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just to set the stage a little bit of our trip. So there were 8 of us, right? We thought 9, somebody got back out last minute, but there are
Yeah.
8 of us there. The temperatures, we were camping, the temperatures every night got down into the teens, and
there's
the
15.
that's the teens.
That's definitely
Right in the teens. That's like
teens.
right in the dead center of the
You
teens.
can't be
And
more
he's
in the
looking at me
teens.
exactly. He's looking at me like, no,
Let's
no,
get the
no.
information
It's
correct.
15. Like, yeah, I'd say in the
15.
teens. Anyway, it's really cold. And during the daytime, Saturday and then Sunday, it got up into like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
But Friday, I mean, it got above freezing. I know that much, but it didn't get much out of the 30s. I don't think.
It was like 34.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it was.
because our dishwater was frozen.
Oh yeah, I mean, stuff was
all
freezing the
day
whole time.
long.
That was I've camped in really cold weather before, but I had not fished in weather that was that cold. And the guides freezing up, my reel freezing up.
Yeah.
And then I was the only one that went out fishing Thursday afternoon, which was a exercise in futility, but
Right.
I did it anyway. And
Oh, you
So I
caught
get up-
one that night, didn't you?
no, I didn't. That was
Oh.
that was the only time I went out the whole weekend that I didn't catch anything.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, so didn't catch anything there. But then I woke up Friday morning, and so let's just to set the stage. It's
15.
January, right? So the days are short. The sun doesn't come up until what time does the sun come up? Like 7:30.
It was like
7:30.
7:30, and we were down in that little valley.
Yeah, we're
so
down
it
this
was
little valley.
7:45
Yeah,
before
I
you
mean
got
the sun
meeting.
doesn't even come up. So, but we several of us went out with Beavers Bend Fly Fishing Guide Service with
Yeah.
Chris Shoddy and Jeff Preddy, both fantastic. And what just happened?
I don't know. What'd you hear?
I lost
Did you
everything.
crackle in and out?
I don't know. No, I'm
Mess
not
with the cord.
crackling. Did I touch a cord? I can't hear anything. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you now.
Okay, well that's just we'll just no, don't touch anything. I think it was the headphones. Yeah, we can fix that in post. We won't, but
There,
we could.
could.
I
Yeah,
can't. It
yeah.
just takes a little tweak.
It's fine. It works now. It's
Yeah.
good.
Well, it wasn't for me.
Oh, did yours go away too?
yeah. That's
Okay.
what you, yeah.
All right. Okay, good.
Mine never stopped working.
That's right.
and
Because
I
you're
really think that's a metaphor. the
It's
way this
a-
whole thing.
there's
I never.
You're not
stopped working.
46 yet. Don't worry.
so okay. So anyway, back to the scheduled podcast. But so I get up Friday morning and the guides are meeting us at. They told us 6, and
They
then
didn't tell us.
okay,
this.
well, they allegedly told Clay 6. Hold on, I have backup on this. So they tell Clay 6. So and the whole time we're sitting there going like, why? Like, I mean, it's pitch black, but we get up. Hey, we get up. We're ready to go. We've got coffee brewing. We're gnawing on
we had our grab and go
frozen-
breakfast. Yeah.
frozen breakfast bars,
Oh, yeah.
and
They were good though.
yeah, I mean, the best part is we're keeping food in a cooler to keep it
To make
warm.
sure it wouldn't
yeah,
freeze,
yeah.
yeah.
Make sure it
And so anyway, they show up and I go to put on my waders and boots. And first thing, they make this popping sound as I release them from my truck bed. At which point I was like, great, I have ripped open the soles of these waders. This is going to be
It's gonna
awesome.
be bad.
Fortunately, that didn't happen. But then I couldn't get my foot in the boot. It was frozen so solid. And then we didn't know what to do. And I feel really dumb later because like we're grabbing, like we're trying to put them by the fire, and we've got this one of those little Mr. Buddy propane heaters, and this
yeah.
is not working. Okay.
Nothing is working.
And then the guides show up and they're like, oh yeah, just put them on the floorboards, turn your, put the heat on the like,
Yeah,
oh,
okay. Not a bad
yeah.
idea.
5 minutes later, they're fine. And
I, for one, was incredibly thankful that your boots were frozen. We were a little bit delayed.
Yes.
in leaving.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was not
too.
moving as quickly as I had hoped to be on that Friday morning.
well, it was first of all, it was so cold and
dude.
dark,
It was big boy cold.
Yeah.
It was big
Yeah.
boy cold.
And what's funny is I just on my way up here finally finished the last episode. And Kenneth is on it selling the trip, saying the weather is projected to be beautiful in the 50s. And I'm sitting
weather
there
was
thinking,
great.
Oh,
It
it
was,
was for
Until the sun went down. And
Yeah.
even when the sun went down,
Yeah.
we had enough gear and there was always
Oh,
a fire
yeah.
going. The worst part of the weather, in my opinion, was that moment in the middle of the night when the water or wine or cold beer or whatever it is you had been drinking decided it needed out.
right. Yeah.
And you had to make some real calculated decisions about where your life was going at that point. Were you going to A, just try to fight it off, go back to sleep and ignore it, risk possible bedwetting as an adult?
right.
B, just put on the minimal amount of footwear and a hat and try to stand outside your tent and hopefully not pee on your neighbor's tent. Or C, go ahead and go through the ordeal of gearing up, putting on a jacket, walking a safe distance, maybe all the way up to the bathroom and relieving yourself. And I'm telling you, there was some real mental gymnastics, especially when that call came at like 3:45 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You're going,
no,
man, I don't know if I can recover from this. If I get out of the sleeping bag, number one, I might die. Number two, I'm gonna not be able to go back to sleep because I'm an old man and just that's not how it works.
Yep.
And number three, and kids cover your ears, but I'm gonna have to execute the act of urination with basically an ice claw for a hand.
high school. And here's the thing: as soon as you unzip that fly, there's not a lot to work with.
No.
It's cold.
That's why I carry a jug. I keep a jug in my tent.
You know, I do too.
For
No,
those
Clay.
No,
reasons.
Let's be
That's-
more
yeah,
clear
yeah.
about what you
That's
decided
the
to
point.
keep in your tent.
Yeah.
And don't tell the wildlife part of the story. Let's save that for Squirrel Watch.
Okay, so yeah, I kept a chemical toilet in mine and my
Yeah.
Mr. Buddy heater. And when the time came, I was like, yeah, I'm just
you were
going
literally
okay.
marinating in your own filth.
Okay,
No.
so
No,
all right.
no, it's a chemical toilet.
No, okay. So I have, and here's the thing, I usually hammock camp, but when it's really that cold, I'll bring a tent. And one of the things I do is, I don't have a chemical toilet. I just have an
You-
old
you should.
bottle, right?
Right,
And-
right.
And here's the thing. I understand that using the bottle and sealing it up in the middle of the night for all the reasons that Kenneth went through. Did you poop in your tent?
100%.
No,
There's
I did
no-
not.
That's a lie.
That's
There's
a lie.
no way.
Oh,
There is no chance because you never went up to the latrine. So
Yeah, I
either
did.
you
I went
not
up
poop all
every morning.
weekend.
I went up every morning
Did you
with
poop
the
in your tent?
exception of the very
Did you poop in your tent?
did you poop in your tent?
Saturday morning. I
Oh.
spent the whole day
Well-
in my tent Saturday
Yeah. So,
after I cleaned it out.
oh,
So bad.
And it wasn't
Who
poop.
does that? What kind of an animal?
no, and here's the thing. He clearly planned on doing it. He put a chemical toilet in his tent.
And there was no point in your planning, the setup, or the execution that you thought, that's my bed a foot away from me right now. And I'm just spraying filth all over this tent.
No,
Never once did that occur to you,
I'm not spraying anything.
buddy. First of all, we know that you eat like a barnyard animal.
Yeah.
We're adults and know what that does to people. I have to imagine you were just Jackson Pollocking the
Yeah,
inside
I
of
mean, look,
No, I
Taco Bell
took-
is not a food group.
I
okay?
I took 2 Imodium on Friday morning so I wouldn't shit myself in the water. And then it just all went wrong and evidently holds through Saturdays.
it all
went wrong. This is the thing. And so I don't
So from an actual practical camping perspective, Yes, it was a little bit colder than we anticipated.
Absolutely.
But during the daytime, it was sun, bluebird
Oh.
skies, gorgeous weather,
It was.
wonderful fishing. The thing I found fascinating about it is all of the little things from a just existing standpoint that you don't consider when it's 22 degrees outside. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna have coffee this morning. Well, not until you melt some water.
Water.
You're not,
Yeah.
because we've got a big pot of ice right now.
Yeah. Or like, I had the insulated 5-gallon,
Mhm.
water dispenser. The water in there was fine because it was insulated, but the nozzle kept freezing up, so you couldn't get any out. Oh, yeah,
it was adventurous
it
for
was rough.
Quit playing with the.
sure. Literally, though, everyone on the trip, even people that had never fly fished before, had never camped, done anything like that in the outdoors, all
Loved
report
it.
that they had a great time.
Loved
Yeah.
it.
All
Yeah.
caught fish.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of
Which is
fish caught,
amazing.
which is a very unlike a Cast Your Faith trip. I mean, it was
It's nerve wracking, I'll tell you that.
I actually went fishing.
yeah. Clay 1 went fishing, and 2 caught fish. So okay, hold
and
on.
may have caught the big fish.
Maybe yeah. I love the if you follow on Facebook, I got this one and you got that one. Nobody measured anything. This is all just pure
it was
nonsense.
Pure
Gesture.
speculation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's so
It's
official
just
about it.
fun.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
And then okay, so I've got a question for you though. So you went fishing Friday. You caught some fish on Friday.
I did.
And did you ever go fishing again?
No.
No. Okay. Well, better than usual, but
I was, dude, I was so stoked. I wanted to end my fishing trip on a high
He
note.
couldn't handle going out and getting skunked if he went fishing on
yeah, I
Saturday.
know,
He's
just-
like, "Nah."
so okay, so where you stand is so as long as Jeff Preddy is guiding you, you can catch trout.
Evidently.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a hell of a plug for Jeff Preddy.
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's
So one of the cool things, and I think a lot of people that have listened to this understand what the setup was, but we were actually camping, right? We were roughing it
In
to some
camping.
degree. We were in camping.
yeah.
We're setting up. We're all getting our gear squared away, our tents put up, and I look over, and Clay has 150 yards of orange extension cord.
yeah. Yeah.
Like you could rappel down the side of a mountain with the amount of extension cord Clay has. And I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I got to plug that into my truck for my air mattress, my heater, and my Nintendo." And then what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
And now that I know,
yeah.
he was actually running a sanitation dump.
Oh, I will
The
say
answer is he was having bowel movements in
It's
his
a
tent.
tent.
it had been so cold by Saturday morning that the chemical toilet froze
Oh,
up.
that's gross.
Yeah. That's
Oh, that's terrible.
yeah.
No, there's no smell. It's like
No.
a porta potty, only clean. It's
Wait,
like
hold on,
no,
hold on,
it's
hold on,
better
hold
than
on.
a porta potty.
Hold
it's
on.
the same stuff that's in a camper.
Let
Toilet.
me explain. Well, okay, one, as we've discussed, I'm an experienced camper bird.
He is the voice of record.
And the
RV.
general rule in the camping world is you don't want to poop in that thing.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, hey,
Yeah. That's always your standard, and it's just not great.
but did I die?
Yeah, but
But did I die?
Right.
But no, wait. Speaking of deaths and you defecating in your tent, was there a death in your tent?
It was close.
Richard Gere-esque, huh?
Oh, jeez. Golly. No, so we're
So
packing.
when we sit around and wonder why people don't feel comfortable coming on these excursions,
I don't know why
it's
we
'cause
wonder.
he drops lines like that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No. So go ahead.
I'm breaking camp. Pulled out of my sleeping bag, and I had been stuffing those hand warmers, chemically or air activated hand warmers, in the foot of my sleeping bag. And so evidently the whole weekend my bed was super warm, and because I just replace them every day, and get the first sleeping bag out, rolled up. I'm like, yeah, man, okay. Get the second sleeping bag, and I move the bag, and there is a field mouse.
Yeah.
That is looking at me. He's like wiggling up, like, why did you wake me up?
Right,
yeah.
Are you sure he didn't sound like Mrs. Doubtfire?
Why did you wake me up? Excuse me, old chap.
I'm in the mouth. Tiny mouth. What do you
And
So
then,
I take Ratatouille very gently. And I put him over by the park bench. Well, then all of a sudden, dude, he totally quits moving and he poops. I'm like, oh shit, he's giving up the ghost. So
didn't you know that he's supposed to poop in your tent?
Well, hey, Ratatouille, there's a
Hold
Kim
on.
toilet
Yeah.
right there.
Hold on. Actually, what's funny is that the field mouse knows that he's not supposed to poop in the tent. He's better house trained than Clay himself.
So I take a hand warmer and I put it on him. I was like, here's your chance, little buddy. Warm up. And it was about that time Jeff and Zach both walk over and they're like, what the beep are you doing?
I mean, I've been camping a lot in my life. You've been camping a
Yeah.
lot in your life.
Yeah.
I've never experienced a scenario where I was the responsible party for killing wildlife in my tent.
Oh, and it's so bizarre. Like, I mean, it's never happened to me, but I've been on trips before where somebody like leaves their tent door open and like a
That's what I
snake will
did.
come in.
Snake is pretty common.
Yeah. Or or you get the ants or whatever infestation. But there was a mouse
It was
in
just
his
a sweet
sleeping
little
bag.
mouse.
The funny thing is that we're assuming that this mouse came from Beavers
He
Bend.
might,
He might have just come from
he might
Clay's
have been
house.
Clay's sleeping bag mouse and just never know
No,
he was there.
I popped all of my stuff out before I left and once I got there. So it wasn't a 75238 mouse. It was a Ratatouille.
Now here's a follow-up question, because here's the best thing about Clay. By the time Sunday morning rolls around on these trips, Clay physically, mentally, emotionally is just spent.
Yeah.
So we get through breakfast and our morning prayer, and Clay is 2 wheels on the ground, 2 in the air, and he is out the door.
Yeah.
88 and out the gate.
Yeah.
And inevitably leaves approximately 17 things that belong to him on every trip. Have you figured out what it is you left on this last trip?
I know there's a charger cord, a white charger cord.
That actually did not make the list.
Okay.
But
All right.
I've got all my fly rods, my reels,
That's unusual, but okay.
my flies, my wallet.
These are all common things that are on the list.
Testicles, wallet, watch.
right.
Okay.
Let's see. I didn't take my pellet gun, so I didn't leave that there.
Let me ask you.
My squirrel. I left my squirrel.
Well, I don't have that. So if
The
somebody
stuffed
collected
squirrel.
that,
Yeah.
someone else got that.
I don't know.
What about if you were going to try to cook something over an open fire? What would you currently use?
Oh.
You wouldn't use your grill because I have that.
Yeah.
What if you decided you had a fine liqueur that you wanted to sample and you wanted to offer it to 4 of your friends, we'll say? Would you use your stainless steel shot glasses? No, you
wouldn't,
The
because
ones
I
that
have
I've
those.
had for like 20 years.
What
man.
about if just you were recreationally going to do some grilling at your house and wanted to start a charcoal fire? Could you do that right now? No, you couldn't, because
it's
I
my
have your charcoal chimney. So I've really kind of incapacitated a lot of your life at this point. And I have no intention of returning most of it.
No, you shouldn't.
It's in the system now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
I think the overall message is it was a great time. I think there was a lot of good, meaningful conversation that was had around campfires, and everybody that lived through it. Obviously, the mouse not on that list, but everyone that lived through it now has a badge of honor to wear that they were camping in the teens,
Sure.
as low as 15 degrees.
I would, yeah.
We were in the water at 17 degrees.
Yeah, but the water
The water was-
Yeah,
it was
the
warmer.
water was fine.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the water was 40,
but
45.
man, your
balmy.
hands,
Yeah.
you
your
know,
hands, the guides on
guides.
your rod.
Oh, that was
the
just
reel.
constant.
I remember
So-
watching a cast, and as my line laid out, ice shot off the top of my line
Oh.
across the water, and I was like, "Dude, that's picturesque."
Yeah,
I
it
was
I'm
may have
so
been
stupid.
mad.
I was so
I
annoyed
was
by
sitting
it.
there,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
casting, and I'd go on my back cast, and
Uh-huh.
I'd come forward. Be like, "Man, I recognize that I don't fish as much as you guys, but I used to be a pretty good fly cast. I could do this." why am I struggling so much? And I look at it, it's just blocks of ice with the guides on my rod. It's like, well, that makes me feel a little bit better. But I'm so dumb that I forgot about it 5 more times that day.
Yeah.
The best was I finally got my reel got really wet at one point, and I mean just completely locked up. And so then I'm like, what? And Chris is like, just stick it in the water. And I'm like, all right, so I stick it in the water and fix the problem for a minute, you know? Yeah.
Now you're in a vicious cycle of
never
dunking
ended.
your rod. Yeah.
And then so one of my favorite things about this is, so I generally wear my rubber boots with studs. Okay. And we were getting a lot from Chris and Jeff that they really like felt. And felt, I've had felt boots, felt it's great, all that and all this. And about, I mean, it was just like, oh, I was getting it with rubber boots with studs. Oh, you're gonna fall, you're gonna do this, you're gonna you're gonna be ice skating, blah, blah, blah. Well, Kenneth doesn't wear wading boots. Kenneth has a pair of, I guess you have a pair of tennis shoes that are big enough to fit over your waist.
Yeah.
So he pops out, and I mean, Chris was
legitimately concerned.
He was legitimately concerned as a professional. He's like, I don't need this guy, and Kenneth just like held firm. I'm not getting in there,
like, buddy.
Didn't as much as slip the entire time. The disappointment, I think, in your lack of falling.
No, Preddy was convinced that I was going to be downriver drown.
Yeah,
and that got into Chris's head. He was like, oh man, this guy, I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, fellas, I know it doesn't look like it, but I've waded in far more treacherous conditions than this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fine. And I got into a whole new thing. I had the fishing staff. I'd never used that before.
No, learning how to use that. I didn't realize there was a learning curve on that.
He told me Ricky Bobby.
Like, strap it to your left. I was like, why my left? He was like, because you're casting with your right.
Well, that was my thing. I was like, I don't know what to do with my walking stick here. When I'm done with it, it just floats around, and sometimes it touches me. It frightens me. What do I do with this? And he goes, well, you can put it over here, or that one right there has a sheath.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell me that. Now now I feel like I've got a sword. I'm going to put down my rod.
Speaking of, only
that's funny because
the sword.
I've gone left a lot, but it messes up my net deal. So I actually go right with my wading staff. But,
I mean, look, I think this is something we should go to the phones. Callers, what are your thoughts on this?
West of the Rockies.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
But I have mine on a retractor, and it kind of gets behind me a little bit, so it doesn't bother me. And then when I'm walking, I just put my rod in my left hand.
Well, Preddy showed me a pretty cool trick. He was like, here, you use it, and then you stake it down.
Yeah.
You stake it down over here. That way it's not going all over the place.
Guys, look.
I mean, mind blowing.
Blowing my mind right now.
I know.
You're blowing my mind.
I know.
Speaking of swords, though, I think this is what Clay may have wanted to talk about. We did go $6 over budget for all of our expenses on this trip.
Yeah.
And there's one reason and one reason only. Because at the Walmart in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, they were selling a one-of-a-kind collector's item machete.
Machete.
In my experiences with this group, I recognized quickly that a Lord of the Flies situation is always on the cusp of breaking out.
Oh, 100%.
And there's no way I was not going to be the guy with a machete if something like that cracked off. So I did purchase a machete, and that's what drove us over the budget. I will say that if ever I'm not on one of these trips, one of you is welcome to take and use my machete so people will know who the authoritarian leader of the group is.
Right. I think that's good. Yeah, whoever's in charge should
in
always
fairness, it did come in very handy. I cut 2 limbs off of a tree.
Nice. Yes,
Zach
you
cut
did.
up the garlic bread at
That's
dinner
right.
with it.
Yep.
I
believe at one point wasn't there food served off
there
the
was.
We
blade?
did have some charcuterie served
Yeah.
off of the blade of the machete. It was kind of a ritualistic thing. We don't want to get too far into that, but we did initiate some new members.
We did. We did.
Yeah.
They came into the game with foreskin. They left.
Oh, wow.
And the Lord said, they shall be
foreskin,
circumcised.
We should probably cast our faith at some point in this episode.
We should.
Right?
You know what? I think it's time.
Do you like how professionally I
was-
broadcasted that? I segued
so
from foreskin to casting.
I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So this morning, one of the readings that we had was from the book of Jeremiah. And for me, for whatever reason, I've always had this thing about Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah is a prophet that is recognized in the Christian faith, the Jewish faith, the Muslim faith. The Jeremiah story is long and well documented, but the thing that has always struck me about him is he was kind of this unwilling prophet. He didn't seek it out. He was told to do it, right? And the line from this morning that stuck with me from Jeremiah was, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations." Jeremiah says, "Oh, Lord God, truly I do not know how to speak, for I am only a boy." And I'll paraphrase this last part here, but God says, "I don't care what you think. I'm God, and I just told you you're my guy." Well, obviously, something as direct as God coming down and telling you that you're his guy doesn't happen just every day. But for me, and especially with this group and the things we're doing, I've always looked at it and approached it from the perspective of, well, if I don't do it, if we don't do it, if we don't take the opportunity to have frank, candid conversations about faith, and, maybe over difficult topics that we disagree about or other people disagree about, if we're not willing to engage in that, then who's gonna, right? You can't allow the fear, the trepidation of your shortcomings to affect you in a way that you're not building those quality relationships and having those meaningful conversations with people, which we had several of on the trip, and I thought was a great part of it. So
yeah, I know. I actually made a note of the what Father Michael had was the God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the called.
Yeah,
and that was that's a good one.
It's good. I mean, that's a pretty good one. So that was Cast Your Faith for this week.
Thank you. Well, then, since we've messed up formats again,
so we got to hit the thing.
Maybe this is just how we do it now.
We're just free flowing stream of consciousness formatics.
Something.
Look, I think the people on the message boards are just going to wear you out about this.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to.
They're lighting up. I know they're lighting up.
Lots of messages, and emails.
All right, hit the theme.
Squirrel center thing.
So I was looking at some squirrel related news lately.
Do you have a Google News alerts for squirrel stories now?
No, I should though.
That's a good idea.
So, and I just was like, I wonder if there's anything good for Squirrel Watch. I Googled this. Alabama man accused of keeping meth-fueled attack squirrel faces new charges. That's just the headline, guys. I mean, so this is crazy.
Hey, can I just before we get into the details of the story, I love that somewhere on earth, and I guess we probably all would have guessed that it was going to be Alabama, maybe Florida, but that there is an attack squirrel out there somewhere. Not one that's just a renegade attacker like the one in the UK we talked about weeks ago, but one that has been taken from a subdued little tree rodent to a full-blown attack squirrel.
Yeah. I mean, this is Mickey Polk. He was arrested in 2019.
All right, hold on. We got to count the red flags here. Go on.
Okay.
Mickey is his first name?
Yeah, Mickey.
That'd be one.
That's one.
Yeah. Okay. So he was arrested in 2019 after authorities received a tip about the allegedly drugged squirrel.
Yeah, sure. Anytime you've got a drugged squirrel, I think that's a red flag.
Aside from the rodent, police found body armor and meth. Now, it's not clear in the story if the body armor is for the squirrel or if it's for Mickey Polk or if they have matching body armor. I don't know.
In any case, the combination body armor and meth, those are both red
Right.
flags.
Yeah.
So we're up to 4 at this point.
Now I'm picturing the squirrel in body armor.
Body armor.
Yeah.
On meth.
So, yeah. Okay, and then here's another one for you. So NBC News affiliate WAFF of Huntsville reported Monday that Polk was set to start a bench trial that was continued until the end of February because Polk's attorney was not present in court.
You think this guy's just had a run of bad luck? Like, was it one bad decision he made? Or has this just been a lifelong pattern of probably
lifelong?
Yeah. And so then I don't have images here, but it says after his 2019 arrest, Polk, 38 years old.
That a boy.
Yeah.
He is spending time living in the space between the before and the after.
Yeah,
he is full throttle.
Yeah. So he was charged with possession of a wild animal, stolen property, and weapon possession by a felon. Because
obviously,
he's got priors. Yeah. And the Limestone County.
Shocked.
Yeah. They released images. I don't have the images of the alleged attack
Oh,
squirrel.
Come on, we gotta.
I know.
I gotta know if it's body armor for the squirrel or if it's for him.
No, I have seen some images because I googled around on this. There are no images of the squirrel in his body armor, but I'm assuming that it's just because it was confiscated by the police.
Well, you know where they get it from? That German ammo supplier that
That's
Clay
right.
won't tell us
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
They
they won't
also
tell us
sell
about-
squirrel body armor.
That's right.
That's right.
Have you ever thought about trying to turn your squirrels to the good side?
No.
Just getting them fueled up on some grape cigarillos and put them out there in their body armor to attack the more rodent and pesky squirrels?
No, you can't trust a squirrel.
So,
Never
okay.
turn your
This guy in
back.
Alabama would disagree. with
Yeah.
you.
He had them hooked on meth.
Well, no, hold on, because this is so after
You
his
assume
arrest.
they didn't get him hooked on meth, sir.
Oh.
So after his arrest, Paul took to the internet to acknowledge his squirrel had bitten people, but he denied that it was drugged. He said, this is a quote, "The public isn't in danger from the methed out squirrel in the neighborhood," Falk said with a chuckle. "He's not on meth, I'm pretty sure." Wait, hold on.
I'm pretty
Hold on. Better not find out he's on meth anyway. I don't think he likes that ass. So he's pretty sure that he's not on meth. And it sounds like he would be upset if he was on meth, because he's
Because
a
he doesn't think he likes it,
responsible
right?
squirrel
Yeah.
parent, but then he doesn't think he likes it. So
Which
clearly
leads you to believe that he may have dabbled.
He's
somewhere.
dabbled it. Yeah.
Do you think this guy is giggling because just 100 yards away from his house is his trailer where he's cooking meth? And he's like, yeah, you guys came and arrested me for illegal firearm and owning a wild animal.
Yeah.
Cool. No problem. Let me go ahead and pay that fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I've got some meth to cook right now.
Right. Yeah. This is and just so you know, the court declined to release the name of Polk's attorney, who didn't show up.
So you got to think this is a public defender situation, right? Because
gotta be.
if there's someone in private practice that listens to Mr. Polk's story and goes, you know what? I think you got a case here. I'd like to work with you. Then you probably ought to have that person disbarred.
Well, I feel like I feel like attorneys, and I don't want to disparage the legal profession, but there are definitely attorneys out there that look, they're gonna take your money, right? And
Well,
What
really-
kind of money does he have? He has a
squirrels.
methed
He's
out
got
squirrel.
money,
Have you not seen Breaking Bad?
And look, it's already getting play on. Did I hear you say WAFF? WAF.
Something.
Waff.
Yeah.
So if you're
In
getting coverage on
Huntsville, yeah.
WAF, that's free advertising if you're the squirrel
Yeah.
attorney.
I mean,
and you probably score some pretty good meth.
yeah. I mean, who doesn't want meth squirrel approved?
Oh God.
Like, how bad is your life if you're sitting around one night, number one, with your pet squirrel?
Right.
That's probably not a great sign. But number two, you think to yourself, you know what that squirrel needs? Meth.
Meth. Yeah.
That's pretty bad, man.
It's
That's pretty
it's
bad.
rough. And then, yeah, I mean, so he was arrested in 19. It's now 2022. I assume he's been home on bond. I mean, it makes it sound like he's reporting from his
Yeah.
home. But,
I don't think they have access to social media while
I wouldn't think so.
incarcerated.
Yeah, can you imagine the anxiety he must be dealing with? Is he going to get his squirrel back? How does this all look for the future?
Oh, well, there's another part in the article. Apparently, he went home. He whistled, and the squirrel came trotting out of the woods, ready to.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
he needs a fix.
Yeah.
He came out of the woods,
He's
had a lot of tiny
scratching.
scabs
Yeah.
on his squirrel arms.
He doesn't have any teeth.
He
Yeah.
looked up and he was real fidgety. he saw his friend, and the guy looks down on his porch, and he's like disassembled every remote control.
And his
Rocky,
polishing
what
his
are you doing here,
mailbox.
my man?
Oh, good Lord.
Oh,
Oh, well, this is, I mean,
I mean,
clearly,
yeah.
This is still
I mean,
not off the
Clearly.
rails. yet.
yeah.
No.
No.
Well, except the squirrel's off the rails.
The squirrel is off the rails.
Yeah.
Well, no, he might be on the rails.
Well, yeah, he's looking for another rail, is what it
I'd
is.
say, yeah, he's living his best life.
Oh man. All
Well,
right.
I mean,
So
look,
yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. That
Here's the thing. So I don't know if we fully did it justice. It's hard to explain just how great that Beavers Bend trip was.
Oh man.
Fishing,
It's
I
fantastic.
mean, the weather was a little challenged, but also the weather. I mean, the weather was great during the day. The sun was out, and we were catching fish. We got guys had two guys who'd never fly fished before.
Never.
And they both caught fish. They both have the bug.
Learned how to fish. I mean, learned how to cast within 30 minutes. At least Jared did.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
mean-
with you took
Yeah, I mean,
Zach.
got Zach on there, and Zach.
no, they both caught fish.
Yeah, that one truck Zach caught was big. I think it was a 14-incher.
Yeah,
We actually
yeah,
measured that
yeah.
one. It was
Well,
14
yeah,
inches.
that's what he
Legit,
was telling
yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's good fish.
Old
And the-
Money
and-
Miller got on the fish.
Old Money Miller.
Well, and it was funny because I'd been fishing with him several times throughout the weekend, and it was Sunday morning. It's about time to go, and it's like, all right, come on, because we went from not getting anything to he had a few of those tugs, and he couldn't set the hook, and once he had that, then he was in,
Oh,
right?
yeah, no
So,
pun intended. He's
yeah.
hooked.
And so then we go out one more time and rig him up, and he's out there and he's fishing, and I'm probably 20 yards away, downriver, and he hooks up, and I look, and he's got my 5 weight, and I look over, and the thing's bent over, and I'm like, oh, he's got a good fish, and I'm like, just get it on the reel, keep that rod pointed up, try not to let him come, don't let any slack in there, right? So I'm like, all right, and I'm trying to get, and I'm telling you, after a couple days of fishing,
Oh,
waiting the
dude.
entire time, my legs were done, and
So you've heard Zach's version of this story is, man, he's looking at me and everything I'm doing, he's just telling me not to do it.
well,
And I
no.
don't know. I'm just trying not to lose this fish.
so he's getting in there. So I start covering the 20, and I had just snagged up on a rock. So I'm just letting the reel go on. I had my 3-weight with the bat, and goes like, click, 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 as I'm going, I'm chugging through there, and it's like waist deep, and my legs are tired. I'm like, I'm gonna fall, and I get up there, and I've got my net out and I am like reaching out with the net for this fish, and I just see him reach up to grab his leader, and no, and the way I remember it was me being, like, don't do that. And apparently I was pretty calm, and I was like, don't do that. And I got the fish in the net.
Everything I was doing was
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
Yep.
He goes, and I didn't know how he was ever going to get this fish in the net because he was a long way away from me. But he's
I
like
trucked
a
it.
fish whisperer. Boy. He talked to him. That fish swam right up to him, got in that net.
Yeah. It was, No, it was a good fish.
Yeah, it was
too.
very good
And
fish.
it was, I mean, I'm telling you, my legs were so tired. I was so sore, and I knew I was going to swim to that fish.
Just an
And
adrenaline dump.
yeah, I made it. And it was a good one.
That was good
And,
fish. Everybody, Jared got good fish.
Yeah.
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 I got made fun of after I caught a fish because it was just a little bitty, 8-9 inch brown, and the Chris goes, "You want to take a picture of it?" No, that's not a fish that I take pictures of. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah.
I mean, the guy needs marketing for his website,
Right.
right? And you denied him a picture.
It's all right. 30 seconds later, Jeff caught the same fish.
It was the same fish. I think Tim caught it the next day. Like, I think everybody caught that same little 9-inch brown on that same hole. That was the first brown trout that I'd ever caught. So mark that off.
A lot of firsts on the trip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
First time I've ever sat in a chair and broken it.
That was, yeah.
Hey Kenneth, what's the limit of this chair?
I'm a man of some
This.
depth, apparently.
And then goes
Well,
and
it's
eats
funny.
dinner.
Yeah,
and
you did call it because you said it was this, and then you ate dinner, and boom,
Boom, man, that was
Too much
all
gross
yeah.
stomach, man.
this plus
Like,
dinner was over
shallow
the limit.
howl.
Yeah.
I've never seen a camp chair go shallow howl.
Yeah.
And you could hear it like throughout the course of
Yeah.
the weekend. I'd sit in it
And it would
it'd
creak.
whimper a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, well, eventually
Yeah.
this is going to go poorly, and
Did.
it did.
Did.
It did.
I thought that was Rhett's chair. I
No,
mean,
no.
that was a small chair.
No, I'm just a big man.
All right. That's no, it
Well,
had been. I think it had been previously injured though.
Yeah. No,
Um,
well, salt water. and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It sounds like it'll be a perfect trip for our April.
So that's the thing. So
Look at
April
that
20.
segue. Nice.
April
Thank you.
28th
Thank you.
through May 1 is our Colorado Bend trip. We're camping again. We've got the group campsite there at Colorado Bend State Park. We will, as we get a little bit closer, we'll put out a sign up genius. And
It won't be 17 degrees outside.
well, I mean, it's late April, early May in Texas. It
Well,
might
that-
be,
that is
but,
very true.
but probably not. And hopefully it won't get rained and all that stuff. But hey, it's camping and fishing. So that's coming up. That's our next one. And then in late July, we're going to the White River. And then in October, we're going to Bolivar.
Bolivar, yeah.
So Pay attention to those dates coming up. The trips will fill up. I think we got room for 12 at Colorado Bend. So,
Mhm.
and we'll have more details coming up on that. And other than that, thanks everybody for listening.
That was a
Absolutely.
good one. That was
See you
good.
next time.
Love all four of you.
Hey, Jeff, I have one more thing. No, I'm kidding.